All right. All right. All right. Um, Good to see you. Happy Friday. Oh, um, did I miss Diane? What did you come in with it? Did I miss the name the first time? Welcome, Diane. Good morning, Sandy, on the other side of the world. Hi, Perry. It's good to see everybody. We're going to give it a minute or two, let the stragglers get in. So glad it's Friday, 60 degrees. Oh, it is Stanley. Sorry, Stanley. Oh, I have to rely on the name. So, Stanley, glad you're back. Good to see you. Yeah, 60 degrees, sunny. Good afternoon, Stephen. Gonna take the dog for a walk after this. Lovely. Can't wait. All right. Well, everyone's in and audios are connected. The rest can join us. Welcome to the Market Watch Group Weekly Market Wrap. I am Scott. I'll be your host. Stanley says thanks and hi, everyone. Love it. So just on that front, because I know that people have said, I want to be able to talk, I want to be able to chat and do things. When we switch, I think I have the transition to Discord figured, and it will allow you to watch, chat amongst yourselves, things like that. So, anyways, that should be cool. I really want to promote that community environment, so that should be coming up sometime soon. No, you don't have to be on camera. You'll be able to just chat and so they call it so that it's creating a literally they call it a Discord community, and then I'll have a stage, and the stage will be a room where everyone comes and I just do presentations, but there'll be other rooms where you can interact and go on camera. So I'm looking into and kind of like configuring it. It's a lot. It's new for me. So but it should be pretty cool. All right, let's dive in. Here's the disclaimers as always. Here's today's agenda. What happened today? What's today's market analysis? What is it relative to this week? What does it mean to us as it gets ready to close the week? We'll revisit our market posture. Is anything changing? Did we have it right? Or is it going to improve? If it's going to improve, does that encourage us to stay in trades? Right? So are you going to take profits? Have you already taken profits? I would expect probably you have. And maybe still going to take a few more. Are you going to hold trades through the weekend? What's your mindset for trades that you may be carrying over the weekend? We'll start even looking at what's going on next week, what we're going to be looking into. We'll take a look at the trading list, but we just had a bullish week. We just had a bullish week that was propelled to some extent by the Fed. I don't see entries, right? I see booking gains. I see pushing to let our winners run, but I don't see a lot of prospects for new entries. I think we're looking maybe for a small consolidation. If anything, Steven says good holding trades through the weekend. Yeah, I would. And it's going to be on a trade by trade basis. We'll see some where you're like, I'm definitely going to hold this. It looks like it's got plenty of room. And some you'll be like, oof, it's already kind of on its second day, struggling. That's one where I'm more inclined to take some, possibly all. 100% I agree. So we'll look at the list, and we will talk about the trading plan as we wrap up. We're halfway through. That's why I really push, because if you just keep a regular cadence of working on your trading plan, if you do that, you're constantly improving your trading plan. We're already halfway through what should be your second pass at the trading plan. Stanley's new. He's going to just get started, dive in, work your way up. We'll cycle back and be back to section one less than a month. So there you go. All right, let's hit it. Let's hit it. And you can see what's going on. Yesterday we gapped up. But we couldn't hold on. And we on the S&P, we gave it back. We overall were still positive. We still advanced to a new high, but we couldn't hold the high. And today we're pulling back a little bit more. So is there a chance that we're going to have to reassess our short-term trend if this thing maybe gives us a little bit of a pullback and starts to turn? We have to be open to the fact, I'm going to draw this with a straight line. We have to be open to the fact that our trend could be somewhat slowing down potentially, or maybe I would end up drawing. Well, hold on, I'm gonna redo this. I'm gonna draw the bottom first. Maybe it's gonna look something like this, and if it looks like that, and I draw the upside, maybe it looks like that. It's not as strong. That's maybe a 1.5. That would ease us back a little bit. We already did adjust our score though. So there's nothing we can do but kind of watch this. However, it does appear as if the market is hitting some resistance. You can see that yesterday we gapped up, right? We gapped up. Am I still drawing straight lines? And we couldn't hold on. And today we're easing a little bit more. And look at your volume. What does that tell you about the buyers? Buyers are taking a break. And some people are starting to take some profits. And what does that mean? It means we may see a new type of a flag consolidation into early next week. It may continue to run. We could just bounce off of this and get all the way back up here before we see a pullback. So we're not going to rush to change our scoring. Quick reminders as we're talking about this. Long-term trend 1.5. If you remember, I'm not going to go into it because we're going to hit it on Sunday, but the long-term trend, we could literally pull back for the next 6 to 8 weeks and our long-term trend score is not going to change. We're at the upper end of the long-term trend. So short-term, we already dropped it 1/4 point. Has it gotten worse? No, it bounced back. So I think that's fine. We're going to leave that as is. It hasn't gotten to a new, well, we did technically get to a higher high. So I guess the argument could be made that you give it the 1/4 point back. I think that 2 score was based on a very specific angle of trend. So I think I'm just going to leave it at 175, probably. I don't know. Maybe when we talk about it Sunday, I'll readjust. Volume. Okay. So here's one. Let's just give ourselves a preview. What's going on here? This week we had 4 below average volume days, and then we had Monday. What happened Monday? Well, we gapped up to here, pushed a little higher, fell back, but we still held. We went from 509.70 to 512.70, 3 points, $500 index. You're talking about 0.66% approximately, right? That was a pretty decent day on above average volume. So I think I am going to give that to the buyers. Maybe the volume ticks back up to a 0.5. We'll see. We'll see. Should be interesting. Major market still looks good. We even got a bounce out of consumer discretionary this week. So that may kick back up. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Major market. I'm sorry. Major market. Small caps, IWM. They bounced off the 50 quite well. I think that'll at least stay, and it's flirting with pushing up into a 1. This will probably stay the same and could flirt with getting back to a 1. So these things look pretty good, and the VIX is going to get an improvement. I think we're going to get a 0.5 point improvement. What do you guys think? 0.5 point puts us back at a 6.5. Why do I like the VIX? Let me get that chart up here. Boom. Because we had a confirmed lower high. Technically, it could go up a 0.5 point because we had a lower high and then we took out this low, and got all the way down to this low and even got lower than this low. We tested these guys. So we had a nice bleed off in the volatility. I'm telling you, it's still tough. If you're like, I'm still having a hard time reading it, I agree, because it's like We had this weird escalation that never got out of control. And then it started to de-escalate and then just kind of popped back up. And now it looks like it's starting to de-escalate again. So great. As long as de-escalation now. But it looks like it's stalling a little down here at this low, which means we might see what? A little upturn. Maybe a couple, 2 or 3 days. And then if it turns back again, that is even more confirmation of our spring rally. Remember that late March and April are 6 of the best weeks the market gives historically when you look at cyclical analysis. So right now I'm looking for, looks like the VIX is listening to the Fed. Things are right. Yeah, right. That's the institutions. Listen, when you say the VIX is listening, you're saying the institutions are listening. Whatever lingering concern they had that had them holding on to some hedges, it's dissipated further. And I think we're looking for that more. I'm looking for a bullish bounce coming up here and then another one. I'm looking for 2 big, nice bullish trading windows. That's my expectation. Until it's disrupted, that's what I'm going to trade for. So I'm looking for it. It's a great time for alerts to kick into gear. I wonder if I'm subconsciously was just kind of waiting to get to this window for alerts, because I feel like we're going to have a nice, like, this is a great time of year. I'm here for it. So but if as it stands, I do think we're going to get a 1/4 of a point. 1/4 of a point. Well, that July, August might be after we start to see rates. I think we're going to still see a rally. And then, yeah, maybe that, cyclically, sell-in may go away, right? May and June just really tend to grind it out. We have strategies for that. Don't worry. We're going to talk about it in the options. Don't worry. We have strategies for sideways markets when we see that come into play. Summer months are slow. Summer doldrums. You know it. So 1/4 point, and then for the new lower low, 1/4 point. I think we might be right back up. We might get that 3/4 a point right back. 675 down to a 6, back to a 675. Remember, until we have a drop bigger than a point, we're never like that concerned. Dropping a half, dropping 3/4. It happens. It's not like, oh, the sky is falling and we run around like chickens with our head cut off. Nah, we're fine. Relax. It's a bull market. So yeah, I do. I think we're going to see an improvement, which means if you're looking at trades and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to hold on to some, even though we're down a little bit today, because yeah, Heiken Ashi should give us a great perspective for that. Let's just go take a look at a few things before we get to the watch list. So let's just kind of peruse the market. You can see where, the Dow's down the most. S&P is flat. NASDAQ got positive. The Russell, okay, not the most. The Russell's the most. Russell got punched a little bit. That happens for small caps. That happens. Look how happy these 2 bros are, giving each other a fist bump with smiles. That's a good day. It's a good week for these 2 bros. Such a funny picture. Dow is down 0.6. NASDAQ's up 0.15. The NASDAQ showing resilience, and we've said that the Dow's going to have a hard time keeping pace at this bullish level. It's too hard. They're too big. These are 30 enormous companies. There's not enough money to just pop them up like that, right? So we're not surprised to see that slowing down a little bit. What else? Congress advances a 1.2 trillion plan to avert shutdown. They always do. Just enough. Not really, but I guess. Trump's new $3 billion windfall may not solve his cash crunch. Yeah, he's what I mean, his $3 billion windfall would mean what? Complete liquidation of his entire holding of that. What's the symbol? DMAC? No, what is it? I can't remember. Anyway, which would obviously crash the stock. So yeah, there's considerations there. U.S. revises tax credit rule to help. Yeah, I don't see much else. Quick look at the economic calendar. Let me scroll down to wrap up this week. There was a little bit of Fed speak going on. Okay, not much impact. Next week, what do we have? We have some good info coming next week. Nothing early. I'm not discounting Lisa Cook. She may have something to say. I just don't think the market's paying that much attention. Then we move into Tuesday. We have a consumer confidence number. I would expect that to stay high. Wednesday, I don't think Christopher Waller has anything for us either. Thursday, jobless claims and GDP second revision. You can see we're really hoping these things stay up in the threes. And then on Friday, more inflationary data. We get income data, we get spending data, and we get PCE. PCE is one of the Fed's more favored. And coincidentally, there is Jerome. So that's why we don't care about the sub chair people, Lisa and Christopher, because Jer Bear will be speaking on Friday. Yeah, it's a pretty heavy week. We got some information coming out. Let's take a quick peek at our Fed watch, and then we'll go through our watch list and see what's cracking. Probabilities significantly against. So our next meeting is now over 5 weeks away, 39 days. 5 weeks away, but the expectations of a cut in May, very, very small. That would be quite a surprise. Can't imagine that happening unless we see a significant couple of reports, this PCE. And then when we look at our April CPI and PPI numbers, those are the other reports. Those will certainly play into it as well, but very unlikely. June has moved into a pretty favorable position. So almost considering a leapfrog. Cut it in June, let it sit in July, cut in April, sit in November, and then that last cut in December. That's their 3 cuts. I think they want to hit it once and then just kind of see what happens. So I would expect yes in June, no in July, and then we'll see for September. That's my thoughts. It's pretty in line. I've had to adjust back a little bit. I was a May guy for a while. I'm a June guy firmly now. It's almost 3-1 in favor of the cut. Small odds for a full. The market thinks it's going to get 2 in a row. I actually don't. I think we're staying here. I don't think we're going to get that, but there's pretty decent favorability for that. Okay. Let me know your thoughts. Where are you at? Are you Junes? Are you Julys? We had a few people, they went from UBS crazy, where UBS is like, it's going to drop 2.75%. You're like, I'm pretty sure it's not. And then all of a sudden the other guy's like, they're not going to even lower it one time in all of 2024. Come on. It's so unnecessary to make these like bold, rash projections. There's an old saying that there are old traders and there are bold traders, but there's no bold old traders. So, yeah, there's no need. Why like make such extreme predictions? I never understand that. You bias yourself so much. It's going to influence how you see things in trade. Apple. So Apple had bad news yesterday from the Department of Justice, but it's stabilizing. So I'm looking at it like, this looks interesting to me. Right? It had this consolidation coming down, and then all of a sudden that consolidation accelerated here, but we busted up out of it. We got back to this old support level, new resistance. Not surprised. We got pretty close to the 50. I'm like, I would feel much better if it got close to the 50. Then what do I need next? I need it to hold support, ideally above the consolidation, which it is, but definitely above the previous low, making this a higher low, which it seems to be. Not yet. Maybe it dojis and then dojis again. And then all of a sudden we get this and it's like, that's the go. When it crosses that, we're thinking, yeah, maybe now it's trying to make that run back to 185. Of course, it might get stalled a little bit there, but okay. Thoughts? What do you guys think? Anyone going to be considering Apple? Let me know. Right? Come on, Apple. Get it together. Oh, AIG. Yeah, right. You can see it's just running out of steam. It's time for a consolidation. Great. The horse just ran the race, did well, placed highly, is tired. What are you going to do? It's tired. You don't take it out back and shoot it. You take it out take it out and feed it, rest it, get it some water, get ready for the next time it races again. AMD holding. That's one we were looking at. Not quite confirmation yet. I'd probably want a little more price action for full confirmation. Definitely anticipatory here. Yeah, it's tough. Anticipatory can be hard in the realm of chip stocks, but yeah, I'm thinking about it. Amazon, we said, is kind of turned into a grinder. It's a tough one. It's just, sort of puttering along. So it's not swinging like it was, right? All of a sudden, it's like, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. It's always worth a consideration, I guess. I know my sound effects are probably terrible. I understand. AXP. So we had a nice run in financials. And we're kind of hitting this. Great. Okay. Hopefully you booked some gains on your financial trades, probably the same on your industrial trades. And now what? Now we're starting to see this thing come back down. Here's the deal in a trend like this. I'm okay with one low. So if it were to get through this, but stay above the 50. So there's this zone in here where on any one of these pullbacks, I would be okay if it did that. I'm not saying that's what I'm expecting. I'm just saying if and when it comes. Right now, I'm expecting flags. Flags, few days, and boom, we pop out of it again. Flag pop, flag pop. It's a parade, a bull parade. The immortal words of Rage Against the Machine. Bulls on parade. Okay. Yeah, so great. Be ready. Boeing, nothing. I told you, one day is not enough for us to be like, oh, Boeing. Boeing looks like trash still. Boeing will be lucky if it doesn't break this old low, and then who knows what depths lie beneath for all we know. I mean, I haven't seen any indication that there's buyers looking to do anything. BLDR looks great, made a nice move. There's profit here. Is it time to take some? Yeah. Could you keep some? I think so. I think you could keep it and see if it makes a valiant run back to 215. And maybe up in this area. So that's my thought. City, same thing. Same thing on City. And same thing on Caterpillar, right? And where is this? This is BLDR Industrials. This is City Financials. This is Caterpillar Industrials. We've loved both of those sectors all year long, and they've loved us back. It's a symbiotic relationship that I'm expecting to continue, meaning all of these horses will now be fed, watered, rested, ready to go again. So absolutely. But are we seeing a lot of, hey, I think I'm going to pull the trigger on this? Come on, right? If you roll up to a party and there's a cops at the door, you don't go in the party, man. It's over. That's done. Finished. The cops are at the door. Okay, what's next? CMG. I think that there will be split opportunity coming from this. If you remember, what's happened is that it has announced a 50-for-1 split, 50-to-1. So it's going to drop down to a $60 stock. Amazing. So what's going to happen? Well, you can see it had an initial surge, right? A big initial surge, but it's now stalling. So what are my thoughts? Pulls back, finds some support here. I think there's a trade. The split is not coming for a while. Can I move this? No, it's not coming for a while. That split. So anyways, we're going to keep watching it. Capital One, like all the other financials, hitting some resistance, pulling back. Oil finally maybe hitting some resistance, hopefully. Costco sputtered. Anyone trade that? It gave a signal and then it's just kind of sputtering here. Okay. CrowdStrike sputtering. Gave a signal, sputtering. Could you still hold it? Yeah, I think you could. Could you break even on some? Or I don't think you probably even get a little gain, a small gain, and then hold a little less so that you've taken risk out of the trade? Absolutely, right? CSX sputtered. So it's not like, oh, unicorns and lollipops. There's some concerns. There's some sputtering about. Delta made a great run. I did not catch that. Anybody trade either Delta or Home Builders? Delta, any airline, and any home builder both had this run. I was watching them and I'm just like, I wasn't quite feeling, I don't know. That's probably my problem. You hear what I described it as? Feeling. Stop feeling. Only watch. What do you see? High or low? Ford made a great run, but hitting this resistance level, recency and frequency, 1, 2, 3 times. It's going to have a hard time getting through there. If you took this one, are you thinking taking all of it? I would absolutely say yes. Fastenal Industrial, another great trade. Another one looking like running out of steam. Perfect. It did all you could ask it to do. GBTC, Bitcoin, struggling to bounce. It gave a little bit of a false start. Came back down, still holding support. We'll see what happens next week. GE, I mean, it's funny to think GE looks like a meme stock, right? It just keeps going higher. Gold, a little bit of a pullback. Google, possibly reigniting. Google looks great. That's helpful for communication services. Home Depot tricked me out of a trade. This is my fault because I talk about this. I actually look to take the false start sputter back in, right? Most of the time, I'm going to take this second trade if it doesn't violate support. I don't have a good answer for why I didn't, but I definitely cost myself by not. So sometimes it's like, why didn't you do it? I saw it. I was like, do I want to? It was a great looking signal. I didn't pull the trigger. Anyone do this one? Catch it, hold it, get back into it. Let me know. It's quiet out there today. I'm a little worried about you guys. Why is it so quiet? I feel like I'm monologuing here rather than dialoguing. You guys know I would much prefer that we are collaborating. IBM. Okay, so this is one that I did not take the false start, but now that it gave it and it's still holding, I'm thinking about it. Right? I like this signal where it's like maybe, and then all of a sudden, boom, and then it takes off. So I'm thinking about this one. So there are some setups, but a lot of what we're looking at, nothing to trade into on a Friday, but a lot of things that look like they're more likely to consolidate than not. Intel. Nope, nothing for me. IWM. It didn't get to a new high, bounced off the 50 and it got to the same high. So, okay, a little bit of, we'll see what happens with the small caps. JP Morgan looks great, made a great run, running out of steam, looking for a consolidation, looking for another trade. Meta has slowed down a little bit of a, little sideways, but okay. Microsoft is at new highs. Love it. We love to see that. It's a leader. It's helping when Apple didn't. If Apple can start back up again, that reignites all of technology. Technology moving back into a full leadership position certainly helps achieve a spring rally that we've been thinking about and talking about. Is there a trade here now? Of course not. It's at resistance. It's 2 days in a row. Already moved. Yeah. Right? Same kind of a thing. Our trade is going to be somewhere down here. So, could we see the stochastics on Apple? Yeah, I'll show you the Apple again. Of course. So Apple's rolled over based on that news, right? It made that nice move up, but if it stabilizes and this stochastics finds a low and turns, I think we have plenty of opportunity. Netflix, a little bit of a grinder, a lot of a grinder, actually. Hard to find a place to want to get in or out of this. You just have to sort of sit through it. I'm just going to watch. NVIDIA. Asked us to do, the homework. That's right. Aflac and PayPal were your top picks for new ones. Sandy also put hers out. Awesome. Appreciate it. Those of you who are doing the Discord, keep doing it. We're gonna get the interest generated in there. You got to just find the tipping point. And once we get to that tipping point, then it starts to just build of its own momentum, right? It's like you're rolling the ball and it's still a little tough, but then it'll start to go. That's what we're looking for here. NVIDIA looks fine. We said this is the signal right here. And now you have to trust it or not at all. And now you can see why. It's already up 3% here. Looks great. Car, industrials. Look at this magnificent stock. We've been watching and trading Paccar. I think we caught this one back in early November. And then had to take a little pause for earnings. And then reignited here for 3 more trades. Love it. PLTR. Ooh, a little bit of a false start. Now, the trade we actually looked at on this one was, and we got close. If I was managing it better, I probably would have, closed and canceled and replaced the order to catch this. Steven did it. Okay. We were looking at 2380. What was your fill? Did you do the April 25 covered call? Let me know what you filled at for that, because that's going to be fine. You can sit through that with this, right? If you do an April 23, if you do an April 25 covered call, you're probably cost basis 2385, maybe 2390. So you're actually still ahead right now. Interestingly enough. QQQ, new high. We can live with that. SMCI is trying to bounce. I mean, this thing is, trust the process that like sometimes people are like, oh, it's just not going. It wasn't going for these 2 days either. And then boom, it took off. So don't get impatient. 19 April for 79 premium. Very nice. 26 strike. So if you remember when we talked about it, we said you can get more up front, less on the back end. That's the 25. Or a little less up front, 79 instead of $120, but more on the back end. You make 230 instead of 130. So more bullish potential. I think that makes sense in this market, right? More bullish potential. That's a higher net max gain. Okay, so look at us. Look at us pushing back up here at the end. We started meeting right here, and we brought good feelings to this market. we're getting it pushed higher. Amazing. Yeah, buyers coming back in at the end. If you're holding, that's a helpful thing. Our market posture is improving. Market's holding at the highs. TPR. I don't know. I'm really starting to think this thing needs to be kicked off. I'm kind of tired of watching it. Like it moved when you couldn't get in, and then it just sort of a constant consolidation. TSM, I think looks good, looks viable. The VIX, steady. Waste management, it's in consolidation. That's maybe setting up. Walmart kind of sideways. Let's just get a sense of the sectors. Biotech, more of a subset of healthcare, but a little bit of a false start. You can see it tried to turn, couldn't do it. We'll see if it breaks the 50. That's going to have increased stress on the healthcare sector. Lots of fault. There's been some false starts. Sandy, you're not wrong. We had some of that. We had some good ones and we had some false starts. So the basic materials, God, they just are still strong. I'd love to see this thing consolidate back at least to the 50, and then from there maybe start working its way back towards something else. It's not healthy for prices to be up over the longer term. Communication services, new highs, happy about that. Energy, new highs, not happy about that. What could that mean? The start of more bullishness? Hopefully so, right? I mean, I think we could see that, absolutely. Energy is at new highs. It's putting some stress on inflationary pressures. So nothing that's panicky. If it were to go through a correction in the next month or so, we'd be fine. It's just that the longer it stays elevated, the more stress materials and energy having high prices on the market could impact what's going on with inflation. There you go. Steven said there was about a 10%, a little more than 10% jump in gas prices in Georgia in the last week. Financials looks great, but pulling back. Industrials looks great, but running out of steam. Technology still grinding along in a leading position, hoping for more. Staples slowing down, which means we're not too concerned about the defensiveness of a rally in staples. Same with utilities. It looks slow and steady. Doesn't look like, oh, a flood of money for people seeking shelter in defensive harbors. Healthcare has kind of turned sideways. Look, when we had it, great. I tried one trade. It didn't go well. I'm not much for trading healthcare, so I'm not worried about it moving out of position. This does make me happy that we got a bounce off the 50. You can see last time when we were concerned, it did bounce, but it just sort of meandered for a while. But here we really got a nice kick out of it. So I feel like maybe we're going to see consumer discretionary hold up and continue to offer us opportunities. Okay. Lastly, risk management. Well, what happened here? Portfolio heat. Risk management is our section 4. So I'm putting a 15-minute trading section video, and I'm putting the 30 to 45 minute, probably more like 45-minute trading foundations video that corresponds with risk management. So if you want to watch the videos to get a little help, it's there. That's in the video. That's in every email I've sent this week. So that'll continue to come out. But work on this risk. Portfolio heat, how much total risk? How does it adjust to changing conditions? Trade risk, how much risk per trade? Does it change by system? If so, how? Does it change with market correlation? If so, how? Number of trades. Do you have a cap that you look at? Do you have an average that you're comfortable with? Risk adjustments. How are you changing things? What's first? Do you change number of positions first? Do you change portfolio heat? What's the order? What's the workflow to work that out? How do you correlate this to your current market posture so that as things change, you're making the adjustments? What are your tsunami indicators? What are the things that are going to trigger you to put on a hedge trade of some kind because, conditions are a bit dodgy, as the Brits would say? And lastly, what would cause you to take a break? This is one that most people don't take the time to define. If your account draws down a certain amount, take a 3-day break. If you have 7 losing trades in a row, take a 3-day break. I say 3 days because I would always plan for a week and I'd never last longer than 3 days. So I was thinking, well, why don't I just make it 3 days? If you recognize you're out of your trading flow, you're impatient, you're frustrated, something, take a break for 3 days. Keep watching the market. Manage if you're in. Just don't commit to any new trades during that time. Okay. Let's talk about the schedule. I've got more people here. I'm going to put this out on Sunday. But I said I have a personal conflict in the mornings on Monday and Wednesday. So I'm going to push our start time back by about 50 minutes. Instead of starting at 9:15 a.m., we're going to start at 10:05 a.m. And so basically, typically when we're ending, we're starting. So I will send it in the email. I will post slides if you forget. I will post it in Discord. I will put it as many places as I can to remind you as often as I can. So you'll see it in a couple of emails. You'll see it in Discord a couple of times, and then you'll see a slide on Monday when you first show up, if you happen to show up early. But 40-minute delay. Is it 50-minute delay? 50-minute delay. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. A nice weekend. I'll see you Sunday. And as always, happy trading.